Welcome to this session of the Beyond the Veil Summit, where we explore the nature of the veil between the worlds. I'm Lisa Bonace, your host. My guests for this session are Liz Larson and Bill McKenna. Our topic today is clear communications, a physical way to connect with those beyond the veil. Bill McKenna is the founder of Cognomovement, a cognitive movement exercise system designed for the quick and powerful transformation of chronic problems and patterns. Bill is the author of The Only Lesson, and he's a frequent guest on Gaia Radio TV, IONS, and the International Association for Near-Death Studies, also known as IONS. And Liz Larson is the co-creator of the Cognomovement system, author of the books Suffering is Optional and The Tiny Book of Big Manifesting. Liz is also a trainer, coach, speaker, and designer of the Cognomovement curriculum. Bill and Liz, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad to see you today. Welcome.
Thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. We're going to have an interesting conversation today about your method called Clear Communications, a physical way to connect with those beyond the veil, which I personally find absolutely fascinating. But let's back up just a bit. Let's start with the basic question. What is Cognomovement for those who are unfamiliar?
I'll take that one. It's since we're talking about a physical way to have communication with other realms, it fits right into what Bill and I do all the time. And it's a physical way to rewire the subconscious and a direct way to access the subconscious and create change. We activate learning centers, telling the body, hey, body, we're going to do something different from now on. And that takes a physical activation. And it doesn't just change your subconscious. It doesn't just change your mind. There's no convincing the mind to change. It changes the way the body talks to itself functionally. And it's also a way to put a small amount of energy in and to release or generate a massive amount of energy that's usable now to the body to heal, to manifest, and also to do what we're talking about today, to create the energy needed to access those other realms, those other sides. So whether it's communicating with the other side or literally changing reality, Bill and I teach how to do that through the physical body using the physical world.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Liz. So before you show us how to do what we're talking about today, let me ask another question. Why do you use the physical body and physical cues specifically to contact other realms and dimensions? Let's dig a little deeper.
Well, it's really interesting. Years ago, I found people coming to me and asking me, hey, my relative passed away, or my husband, my wife, and can you look at it? And can you ask them, how they doing? And so I would help people. And after years of that, I started thinking to myself, it just kind of came in, shall we say, that they should be able to do it for themselves. And there is a very, very practical and easy way to do it. It happens to be the same mechanism that you use on the planet Earth to have a life experience. It's your actual senses, your sense of hearing, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, your sense of touch. All of these can be used to communicate with people on the other side. It's very practical and it's tangible. And when you experience this, what happens is a side consequence is that grief can really diminish significantly, because I now know without a doubt they're here and I can have a conversation with them any moment in time. It's visceral. It is your physical body.
Wow. Okay. We're going to dig deeper into that in a little bit. I want to first, let's talk about what led you to have this focus on the physical when it comes to metaphysical things? Liz, would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think Bill and I came to differently long before Cognomovement. And for me, I came to a point where I wondered why we were always trying to get out of our bodies and do something else like astral travel and all these kind of psychic things if we were just going to return to that anyway, right? And it made me think that there was something about these physical bodies that were important about translating information. And so for me, that was the big question. And I started to look inward to see what information could I get through the cells of the body. And so as I practiced and practiced, I realized there was so much information, especially inside the cells. They look like a little universe. If you look at, even drawings of them. So in the early days, practicing, kind of looking in through those cells, I found that I could access a huge amount of information. By the time Bill and I met each other, we both had sort of come to the conclusion that there was so much information in the body. And that if we utilized what we now know as the nervous system, all of the senses, and we knew how to translate that information, we could change literally anything. By changing the input, we could change the output. And so for me, that was the direction, just knowing for sure that there was a reason we're doing this thing with the physical body and a real way to utilize it, to change the universe itself. And I sort of think that's the reason. Abraham Hicks always says, you're on the leading edge, you're on the leading edge. Could never understand it until we started to change things using this physical tool.
That is a fascinating perspective, and it just makes so much sense. I've had a similar question about if we're in these physical things, why are we constantly trying to get out of them in order to make things happen? So thank you for that perspective, Liz. Bill, what are your thoughts?
So, of course, everything that Liz is saying is the absolute truth. And it's fairly simple, right? We're here in our physical bodies, having our life, and it's all done through our senses and our physical body. And the thing that's running the show is our nervous system. So with that, as soon as we understood that you could change everything in your life by adjusting the nervous system, that all those involuntary reactions, responses, even grief itself could be processed.
Okay. So then is there a specific part of the physical that you focus on?
Yeah, the part that we're working with to create change is the nervous system. But what that means is it's all the inputs of the body. So with Cognomovement, a lot of times we're focused on the eyes, which actually connect directly to the brain, which connects directly to the spinal cord. And the spinal cord sends out all of the sensors to every part of our body, every part of the edges of our body. If somebody pricks your toe with a pin, you feel it. That's your nervous system. But here's something most people don't know. The nervous system extends outside of your body, about 6 to 8 feet for most people. That's what Heart Math Institute has discovered about the heart itself. But this is the way you know when somebody walks up behind you but doesn't say anything, that they're there. You feel them. And this part of the body is constantly interacting with everybody we're in contact with. The people that we're close to in our houses, our nervous systems are interacting with each other in this field. We don't have to be touching each other. We know what's happening on the other side of the house from this side of the house. You feel the change through that. And so for us, we work with this whole system to affect change. When we affect change inside our own system, that affects change essentially in the universe. Our field of potential, which is what we call this area around the body, connects with a greater morphic field, which connects with greater and greater fields. So each of us is sending signals and receiving signals in this whole energy soup. And so when we can create change in our own little system here, we can create change everywhere. So that's why it's so important to Bill and I to work with this amazing system, electrical, hormonal, and chemical system that we have inside our bodies.
So I wonder then if you two would be willing to show us how this works. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it.
So I'll start first. We're talking about being able to communicate with those that are no longer in physical. So that really could be anyone, anything. So for some of you, it's a loved one that's passed, maybe even a pet that's passed. For others, it's going to be guidance, maybe, that you want to contact. So really what Bill and I are talking about today works for all of these things. Just adjust it to who and what you'd like to be in contact with. The first thing to do, and like I said, this is very physical, and we're going to use a Cogno ball to keep our attention. But the first thing to do is feel, what would it be like for you if you could be in contact with that person, that element, maybe that place? So on a big deep breath in, let yourself feel what that would be like. Would you be excited? Would you be joyful? Would it feel like a massive amount of love if you were in contact with one of these people or this guide? What would the feeling be like? And as you're hearing my voice, you may start to feel it well up in your body. Now, for some of you, there might be a tinge right now of a little bit of resistance, like, I've tried this before and I couldn't do it. Let that be there too. Or if you're concerned that there might be something hidden, don't worry, it'll show up. In the next 5 minutes, we're just going to do a little exercise with your eyes, but it's important that you connect with how you feel. Let your body really tell the truth about this. What would it feel like to have that communication and know for sure that you're communicating fully? No imagination here. It's happening. As I think about it, there's this real warmth in my chest. Where is it for you? Sometimes it's in the head. Sometimes it's in the gut. Sometimes it's all around your body. Let it be there as much as it is. I'm going to have you grab something to just keep your attention on, maybe even just a pen. And we're going to start actually right up over your head. Let your chin drop and your eyes move up. Let them stretch and breathe. And feel that sensation of communicating, hearing, feeling, knowing. Breathe into it and let it build. Let your eyes be up. And breathe. And now gently begin to move that pen, or if you happen to have a Cogno ball, just slightly to the right about your eyebrow there. And breathe. Smile. Let yourself feel what it would be like to have that communication. And let any resistance be there at the same time. It's okay. Don't push it away. Right. Bring it down next to your eye, right here. Pull it close to your ear and breathe. We're accessing the files of your nervous system here. Notice what it would be like to feel them, to hear them, to touch them one more time. Good. If any sadness or grief comes up, let it be there. Let it all be there together. Moving down towards the bottom of your ear. Now let your eyes stretch. Really let them stretch and feel. You know, for some, this might be really new, but let yourself feel what it would feel like to know, to get that communication, to get that information, have that touch, and breathe. And move down to your jawline. Let your eyes stretch. Pull that item back towards your shoulder. Breathe. And let it flow. Let that feeling get bigger and bigger. The resistance and the joy, the love. Breathe. Bring it down under your chin now. And let your chin stay level, but let your eyes drop. And notice here how physical, visceral this sensation gets. Let your eyes drop and breathe. Contact, real contact. Real and clear communication. Let it flow. How would it feel? Make the feeling bigger. Move over now to your left, just in front of your shoulder. Now, as we cross the center line of the body, you might notice that the sensation changes a little. The quality maybe, let it be there. Whatever it is, let it be. Breathe. There's no trick here. We're really moving through the files of your nervous system, finding the place. Maybe you have a little extra resistance, or maybe where it flows. Just notice which position for you made that big feeling bigger, or that resistance just a little more. Great. Moving to the ear now. And breathe. Noticing what would it feel like for you? What would it really feel like for you? Have that connection. Beautiful. Breathe. And moving up over your eyebrow now. Big deep breath in. If the energy's flowing, if it's getting bigger of what it would feel like, let yourself smile. If it's that resistance is just there a little bit more, let it be there too. Let it be there as much as it is. Breathe. And up over your eyebrow now. Here. All right. So just notice there are going to be two spots for most of you. One where it got bigger and richer and yummier, and one where it was a little resistance. Just take notes. Ready? We're going to begin again, but we're going to go faster this time. Big deep breath in. That joy there would be in communication, and move just a little faster. Breathe. Let your eyes stretch. Good. We're going to come in a little bit of a figure 8 here. Breathe. Communicating fully. Let yourself smile if that energy's building. Breathe. One more lap. Let this one be that big oval again. And let your eyes stay up here for just a minute. Left and right, just tick-tock, eyes up. Chin down, and let's ask the question, what else is possible when you can communicate fully with all of those who are non-physical, the ones that you choose, the ones that are beneficial? Take a big deep breath in, and just pull whatever that is you're holding in your hands down out of the air, and let your head rest and your eyes rest. Just let that energy flow. Take a quick note of what you discovered. For some of you, it might be really interesting how big this energy is now. For others, you might have seen exactly the spot that was hanging you up and a place you can create change. So now that you're ready, now that you know what this feeling is, Bill is going to take you through the actual process, a sample, one piece, of how to start to feel this on your physical body.
Beautiful. Thank you, Liz. Okay. Now, this portion of the exercise is where we choose one person and only one person that you wish to communicate with. So make your choice now of who that person is. If it's a loved one, this really works out well because you have some relationship. Obviously, you could choose, somebody that you don't know, but let's start there if you can. And what we're going to do is close your eyes and imagine a chair that is directly across from you. You're going to invite this one person in and have them seat in this chair directly across from you. Imagine that you're calling them and, hey, I'd love to talk to you. Here's a chair. Create now a big pink bubble. This pink bubble is your bubble of protection. It is right around both of you, and you're inside this pink bubble with that other person sitting across from you. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is imagine we're going to give them a grounding cord. So this grounding cord is like a cord that comes out of the base of their spine with an anchor on it and anchoring them into the planet Earth. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard for them to be in the density and communicate. This will help them to stabilize here. As we're here now, what we're going to do is we're going to begin with one of the possibilities of communication. Each different physical communication is like a different channel. What do I mean by that? We have physical touch, we have smell, we have taste, we have eyesight, we have hearing, we have a feeling, like an emotional feeling. Today, we're only going to do one, just as a test. This is like pinging a computer. You send out a signal and you say, hey, do you got my message? And then it sends you back a message. So we're going to test one of them. And this will be where we ask them to touch the back of our hands. So separate your hands, put them face down on your thighs, or you can put them down on a table if you're in front of a table. And what you're going to do next is you're going to ask the person, that is, you've called into the chair that's in your bubble, as you're protected here in your little bubble with just you and that one person, you're going to ask them to touch the back of your hands. You're going to tell them, listen, I really want to feel it. Remember what it was like to be here on the planet Earth. Remember the density. This is a way that they can help become a little bit more dense. And just to touch the back of both hands, right here on the back. Going to ask them to concentrate all of their attention right there, and that you really want to feel it. Simply wait and notice if you notice a sensation on the back of your hands. People feel a variety of things. Ask them only to touch the back of the hands. This is the only area that we want them to touch for the purposes of this exercise today. Allow that. Give it a few minutes. You may already be sensing something. It's not your imagination. This next part is critical. You're going to ask them to really listen up because it's so exciting for them to finally communicate. But please, Tell them very, very clearly, I'm going to need you when I count down, I'm going to count down to 0. And when I hit 0, I need you to pull all your energy off so that I know that it's you. They need to suck back all the energy that they have and pull it back all at one time. This will enable us to know the difference. Ready? Please pull back the energy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the energy off. To be able to take all your energy off, pull back. We're going to do more. Just pull away. Relax. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for the system to calm down. This is a very new experience. Notice, did you feel a difference? Okay, now the next step is we're going to begin to get our language. And it's very, very simple. We're going to make a yes. Now, for those of you, your left hand, who have a ring on your left hand, you're going to shake your left hand. You're going to show them the left hand is the one with whatever on it. Or maybe you've got a tattoo or some other identifier. This is my left hand. I want you to say, this is going to be yes. Okay? This is going to be yes. Put your hand down and ask them only to touch the back of the left hand. All of their focus is on the left hand. Please touch the left hand now. All of your energy only on the left hand so that we know what a yes is. Notice how that feels on the left hand. And you may want to give it even a minute more. If you need to pause this to give yourself a minute. For most of you, you'll be getting a response real quickly. The very first time you do this, it can take a little bit longer because you're like, what the heck is going on? You know, I'm not sure if I feel something or not. And then, oh boy, I feel it. Okay. Ready? Remove from the left hand. Tell your person you've got to remove. This is going to get only better for you, but you have to remove your energy. So pull all your energy back instantly, like now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the energy back. Did you feel it? Did you feel it pull off? Notice that left hand. Okay, and now we're going to go to the right hand. The right hand, you're going to just take it and shake it. You know, this is my right hand. Any identifiers that you might have, you know, if you wear a bracelet on the right hand, whatever it might be. Hey, this is going to be the right. It's going to be no. Ready? Okay. Let's welcome them to a no. No. Touch the right hand only. Only the right hand. See if they can touch just the right hand for a no. Notice the back of the right hand. See if they can do it. Relax, giving them a chance. They're usually very, very excited. Now they have to follow the close instructions. Got to be the right hand. We want the right hand for no today. Okay. If you need to pause this to give yourself a few seconds to enjoy that, you can. Noticing the sensation, tell them you really want to feel it. Really want to feel it. Okay. And now we're going to ask them to pull back. Pull back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the energy back. Pull it back so that you really can feel the difference. Tell them they're doing a good job. Doing a great job. Pull it back. Sometimes they get excited and they'll start trying to touch and, the back of the hands. But if you can just pull back, we're going to have a new language. There's so much more to this, by the way. You'll find that this is just the start. Okay. So now that they pulled back, now we have a yes. We've got a no. Oh my God, think of the possibilities. Ready? There's the last one we're going to do today is other, right? It's ask a different question, right? Things are not necessarily yes or no. It's just, hey, there's something else. Ask a different question or it's something else. That's going to be touching both hands simultaneously. Okay, I need you to understand this is going to be ask a different question, both at the same time. Put your hands down, ready, and ask them, can you touch both simultaneously now? This is going to be ask a different question. Allow them to just touch the back of the hands. At this point, the farther we go along, you might notice it's getting stronger. That's because both of your systems are getting used to this new method of communications. They're getting better at it. And you are too. Beautiful. You may be feeling it already. If you need to give yourself a sec, give yourself a sec, you pause it. And we're going to pull back. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the energy back. Okay. And now here's where stuff gets fun. Ask one question. You now have a communication. It's a visceral communication. You're going to ask one question. Remember, left, yes, right, no. Ask a different question, both. Ready? I know you're probably spooling with different questions to ask, right? Who wouldn't? But just ask one question. Just one, because this is just the basics, right? Ready? Ask the one question, whatever that might be, and wait for the answer. Notice. Just ask that question. And wait. Noticing the back of your hands. At this point, you're much more familiar with the sensation. So relax. Don't ask another question. Wait for the answer. Beautiful. Pull back. Pull back. As soon as that answer comes, thank you so much. Pull it back. Now, thank your person for coming. Tell them now we've set it up and we now have one method of communicating. As I say, there's so much more. Release the grounding cord that you attach to their spine and dissolve the bubble. Thank them for coming. And as you move forward in the days, weeks, and months to come, you don't have to do the bubble now. You don't have to ground them now. You could be doing the laundry and you're asking, hey, should I put the bleach in here or not? Hey, mom, how's this, whatever it might be. You can ask questions and start communicating all day, every day. It's fun. It's fun. Liz?
So there's just one little more thing to know. That feeling that you had in the beginning, that love feeling, that openness, that physical sensation that you found. You may have figured out where it was a little bigger and where it was a little smaller. Now that you know what it feels like to have them touch you and that feeling is coursing through your body, take a moment to move right into that place with your eyes where it felt really good in the first little session, and take this feeling and now add it to it and breathe. Really notice what it felt like, how exciting it was to have that communication. Notice what it felt like on the back of your hands. We're anchoring it into your nervous system so that whenever you wish, you can move your eyes into that place. I just did it to myself. And you feel the energy move. And now you're ready for communication. Now, you may have also found another spot. Often it's on the opposite side, but not always. That it was kind of, the energy went down or that bit of resistance came. You're thinking, I'd love to make communication. I don't know if I can do it again. You're likely going to find it in that spot. You'll likely even find your eyes there. I don't know if I can do it again. You're simply going to take an item, take a pen, take a ball, and move it from that place of resistance into that place of excitement. Did you see my face just get excited? Because it's a place that your nervous system can access the files in your brain and the part of your nervous system that knows how to do these things. If you're one of those people that was having a hard time before, like you've done lots of things and you couldn't do it, but this time you did, it may just be that your energy is tied up in trauma and drama of life. And there's just not enough to expand yourself to the point of being able to have the energy to communicate. You want to make sure you can do it every time. So you can use these little tools with your eyes, with moving, to get ready, and also to anchor in after how excited you are about this whole new communication and this whole new world.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Great. I actually have a question or two. First of all, I know that there are going to be people watching this saying, it didn't work for me. I didn't feel anything. How many times should I practice this per day? Can I do it, 5-6 times a day? Should I wait? Let's talk about that first.
So here's the thing. This is an important question, and I'm so glad you asked it. It turns out that we have different channels open to us. This is a bidirectional communication. The person on the other side may not have the ability to do the touching, but it turns out they have the ability to communicate through smell, and so do you. So there are all of these channels that we go through in this clear communication class and find where are you open and where are they open. If not everybody has every channel open, they're not clairaudient, they're not clairvoyant, they don't have smell or taste, they just don't have it. Maybe it's on the other side of the veil, maybe it's for us physically here that we haven't activated that ability yet. But in between the two of you, there's an open channel. I don't think I've run into a person yet that doesn't have one of the channels open. Most people end up having 2 or 3 channels open. And many, especially with a crowd like this, will have 6 channels open.
Really, If you can't do it at all, it may also be that that resistance part of you is stronger than that love part of you. So you may need to take the first part of this exercise, really put your attention on the resistance part, and just work your eyes in that circle until all of a sudden there comes a place where you're like, oh, I get it. And then move yourself back into that place, that love, we call it the love position, but a place that your body lights up and your energy flows. Most of the time, that's just it. We have fear that we can't do it, or our energy is just tied up in other things. So make sure you take the time to kind of clean up the slum areas, right? And be ready, because this is such a wonderful thing when it starts to flow. You want to be sure that your communication is clear. It's kind of like you get dressed up. You know, when you go to church, you would get dressed up when you go see somebody that you really want to impress. So dress up your energy a little bit, but not in a fake way. Make sure that you're really in that beautiful state of flow to greet the information. The other thing is that I've noticed for myself personally is that the quality of information that comes is different based on my state. So when I'm in my state of really neutral, kind of chill and cool or above in that love state, that's when the best downloads come. And I'm telling you, they're going to come fast in that state. If I'm bound up and kind of annoyed and salty, not so much.
I like your use of the word salty. That's
Salty, yeah.
Perfect word. I want to ask you, Liz, you were talking when you're using the ball, and as a reminder to people, you don't have to have the ball. You can use a pen. But when I was first learning Cognomovement earlier this summer, I was laying down for a nap, so I wasn't actually using the ball, or I was just kind of laying there thinking, okay, maybe I'll meditate, maybe I'll sleep, whatever it is. And I found myself with my eyes closed, rolling my eyes upwards. But again, I wasn't doing the full exercise. I was just moving my eyes back and forth like this, and it felt that while I was doing that, you know, my intuition was telling me, really dig in there, really raise your eyes up there, to the point where it actually hurt. And I kept going back and forth, and it felt like cement that had been in my head was being sort of scraped away. And as I was doing this, it felt like whatever was blocking me from accessing, you know, my crown chakra, my intuition, was being removed. And the more I did this, suddenly I felt like, oh, this is supposed to feel like. It was this stunning opening, this removal of this cement block. What happened?
Oh, this is my favorite question ever. And Lisa just asked it. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. When your eyes are in the up position, you have the ability to access the part of your brain. Now, remember, we're talking about physical and nervous system here. The part of your brain that attaches to the part of your body that can reach ideas and inspiration. And, you know, little kids, their eyes are googly and all over the place. And most of the time they're up because you're taller than them, you know, and little kids just have this rosy, happy glow a lot of the time, right? As we get older, our eyes come down to this level. We're looking here or below, and we sort of lose the access to that part of our brain. Who doesn't want ideas and who doesn't want to be inspired? So if you think about if somebody's in praise or worship, they're doing this. If somebody says, I win, they're up here like this, right? If somebody says, well, you know, think about that, you kind of go, right? The eyes go up. So this is where we have access. But our eyes get tense and they get, you know, pulled down with the weight of life. So moving them up and left and right, you're moving left hemisphere, right hemisphere, but in the realm of ideas and inspiration. And if you haven't done it a while, that's what it feels like. I mean, it's a bit painful. The eyes stretch, they feel achy, right? And so it's kind of like working a muscle, exercising a new muscle. But as you do, and you want to make sure you really breathe while you're doing this, give your eyeballs oxygen, because this is a workout. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere, ideas and inspiration, all of a sudden, it feels like that. It feels like, to me, like the top of my head comes off. By the way, here's a hint. I do this daily. I want the ideas and inspiration. And it's just really a physical way to access the part of your system that knows how to do that. And once you've accessed that ideas and inspiration, you're in a different state of energy. You're in a place of energy where those upper chakra things can access you very easily. I call it vicinity theory. These things that we want to know, be, have, or do, they're literally waiting right out our fence, right? They're here. They're looking at us too. But we have oftentimes such thick, dense energy, by no fault of our own, just not knowing how to clear it, that it can't get through. And the minute you open that up, it can come right into you. So for me, it's one of my most favorite daily things to do.
I'm so glad you had an answer for that. I knew you would. I couldn't wait. I gotta ask Bill about this. So thank you for that. I do want to ask another question. Let's bring it down just a touch, because you both mentioned grief earlier. And I know that grief can block people from making these connections. So if you don't mind, I'm not sure who would like to answer first. I'll leave that up to you. But let's talk about grief.
So often when we see people that they're going through the initial stages of grief, it creates a situation where they cannot communicate. They are so very, very dense, right? Grief is a very dense emotion. It doesn't feel good. You can actually feel it in your body that it just doesn't feel good. You feel very dense. The person that has transitioned no longer has a body, right? By virtue of that, they're operating at a much higher frequency. And we, as we go through grief, are in one of the lowest frequencies that we could be in while having a physical body. So the absence of the grief really enhances our ability to communicate. And with this method that Liz and myself had devised, very naturally, you'll have a diminishment in the grief, because it's as if they didn't really leave. We're just talking on a different channel now. We used to talk with our voices in our ears and that sort of thing. And now we're just talking through these new method.
Yeah, it's really true. You mentioned the book Suffering is Optional. And that's really where that name comes from, is that the body with grief suffers. It's a physical pain. The body actually has withdrawals. Remember that energy field I talked about, that energy soup? Once you're in contact with somebody, even if they're thousands of miles away, you're still connected in that energy soup. And when that's gone, our physical body is still reaching for that other person, or for that pet. We're looking for it, and the body suffers. So it's entirely possible to release the body from the suffering, the physical pain. And what you find is once that physical pain is gone, then you can think about them and smile. Now, I can tell you, Lisa, that I know this from firsthand experience. I lost my parents in 2021, 35 days apart. And we had some massive work going on, Bill and I. I did not have time to be in that place of having my body suffer and drain my energy. But not only that, the truth was, my parents were amazing humans, and I wanted my eyes to light up when I thought about them. I did not want my heart to feel black with grief when I thought about them. So it's one thing to teach it, it's another thing to do it, but I did it for myself. I let myself focus fully on that pain, and it was very physical, very visceral. And I worked our system, the Cognomovement system that Bill and I built, which is really focusing on that physical sensation and doing some movements that access, all the learning centers of the body, right? But, the ways that our body takes in information. And I collapsed. that sensation of grief. Now, I've been doing this system a long time, so it didn't take me very long. But now, when they cross my mind, my eyes light up. And I'm able to think about all the wonderful things that we did together. Now, the end of their lives were really hard, but my mind goes there very rarely. And if it does, there's no hook for the eye of pain. Now I look at it from, oh, gosh, yeah, I do remember that. It might have been different if we did this or that differently. If I ever come across that again, I'll do it that way next time. Not the loop that a person can get in, the pattern that they can get in of, if I'd only, what if this happened? What if that happened? And then the body goes back into pain. So it's really a personal choice that everyone makes. But I'll tell you this, as soon as you can get your body out of pain, that communication starts coming so fast and in all kinds of ways. And as soon as you learn a tool like Bill just shared, to do it, in a way that feels really grounded, for one, and real. I mean, it feels very personal and real. There's very little woo-woo because it's touch and smell and taste and hearing. Once that happens, you're really just in constant communication. It really is like having them here. And you know what else happens? Your nervous system has them. They have the frequency back, and your nervous system's not reaching for them anymore because it's already here. I think personally, it is the best thing a person who's lost someone else can do for themselves, for the rest of their life, and for their family, anybody they come in contact with.
Well, we are out of time. We could talk forever. I want to make sure before we go that I mention your website. It's cognomovement.com. Briefly, tell people what they will find when they visit there. Bill, do you want to take this one, or Liz?
So when you go to our website, there's a ton of great information. Most of all, you can get 2 free ebooks, Suffering is Optional and the Tiny Book of Big Manifesting that Liz Larson authored about the work. These are practical books that are going to give you a tremendous amount of information, which, just like today, practical stuff. You also find there'll be a offering of the Essentials package, which you can get video training and the ball and different things there that can help you to do the work yourself.
And there's the research. Some of the science is there, actually lots of the science, and images of what changes really in the body when your energy goes up. Those are really cool.
Perfect. Well, thank you both so much for this fascinating conversation. I so appreciate your time. Thank you both, Liz and Bill, for being with us today.
Thanks, Lisa. It was fun being with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to remind everyone that I've been talking with Liz Larson and Bill McKenna of Cognomovement, and I want to thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this conversation in the Beyond the Veil Summit.